Hello again. I'm going to do another party stopping chord. And this one is basically, you've heard of two chords like C2, G2, D2, whatever. Like D, when you play a D chord and you open up the E string, people call that D2. Now back in the 70s when I first started playing guitar, teaching guitar lessons and stuff, a lot of times they would call that D add 9. And I don't remember seeing it anywhere, but I started calling it D2 just because I thought that made more sense, because it was like a D chord with the 2 added. And that when you saw add 9, you would get confused, and I would think it was a 9th chord or something. So I felt like it was a little bit easier to read fast, sight read if you saw a D2 chord. Well, now that's common term for it, common nomenclature for the chord. So I'm thinking D2 because D6 was always around. D6 was a D chord, with a 6th added. So D2 made sense. Well, you can also do a chord like D4, and I kind of started calling it that. A lot of people would call it D add 4, but I just said, why not just call it D4? You can call it an add 4 chord if you want, but I just call it 4. So that would be. Let me show you a C chord here. Here's the standard C chord. C add 4 or C4 chord. You could just add your pinky to the F. Kind of make it an a C sus chord, but leave the E string open. So now you've got the 4 and the 3rd, and they're a half step apart. Okay, in the case of C, it would be C E G is the triad, and F is the 4. Okay, so E and F are a half step apart, so that would sound like this, right? It's again that kind of dissonant thing that sounds dissonant by itself, but when you add the other chord tones, the dissonance goes away and it becomes beautiful. And so this one, the inversion, and I don't want to get too technical here, but the inversion of a minor second, which is what this is a major 7th. And so when you go from this F to this E up here, that's a major 7th. And by itself, it's dissonant. Kind of like, where are you going with this idea? Where are you going? But then when you hear all the other chords, oh, that's where you're going. You go into a beautiful place. So I'm channeling Nigel Tufnell right now. Okay. So another one, that's one version of C4, C4 chord. But again, my point is that one does not have the half step in there, that E to F right next to each other kind of thing going on. But this D4 chord does. Check this out. We take that C shape, add the pinky on the 1st string. Okay. So we're nothing on the bottom string. Then it's 3, 2, open, 1, 3. Okay, you probably played C that way before. Slide it up 2 frets, and that's a D4 chord. Okay, it might be one of those. You can pedal in with lots of reverb and delay and stuff like that. Sounds really tight. So, that one has the F sharp and the 3rd and the 4th, the open G, right next to each other. And again, dissonant and beautiful. Dissonant, beautiful. All right, so there's a D4 chord. So here's a C4 chord. Okay, now if you want a C4 chord that has the half step, here's one way we can play it. Okay, check this out. I'll play a C bar chord like that. Like the double bar, the A form. Go up and make it C sus, and then leave the E string open. Isn't that cool? And again, these chords sound great when you pedal them in. Okay, so now okay, let's do a little harder one. Okay, and this one would be an A4 chord. And there's other ways you can do this. You can figure out some of your own if you want. But the way I'm going to do this one is I'm going to take this A triad right here. Okay, so open A string, then it's 7th fret, 6th fret, 5th fret. So there's the A triad right there, and then the E string is open. Okay, so we have A, G sharp, and E. Okay, now I'm going to take this E, and I'm going to go down and get that D. So I'm going to have to refinger this so that I'm playing it with these 3 fingers. And then reach down. Isn't that nice? I might do something where I just kind of putting some delay and chorus on it, compression, and then I'm just kind of hitting the strings with my pick to kind of create a hammer dulcimer sound. And so that was, and so the voicing, the fingering on that is open A, pinky on the 7th fret of the D string, 3rd finger on the 6th fret of the G string, the 3rd string, and 1st finger on the 3rd fret, the D note, on the B string, and then the E string open. Now you could also, if you wanted to, make it a little bit more tough for yourself. Actually, this might be easier because you don't have to worry about getting the E string open. You can add your 2nd finger on the A up high. And the nice thing about this one is that this chord is movable. So sometimes if it says G or it says E on the chart, you can just play this the chord, the E4, like that, D4, whatever the top note is on this voicing. Again, this one would be 14, 13, 10, and 12 on the top 4 strings. There's no bass. I'm not getting a low note with it. I'm just doing just top 4 strings, all fingered. Isn't that cool? All right, now I'm going to show you one more that's probably the most difficult of all of them, and that would be an open version of the E4 chord. And there's other ways you could do this, but this is one I like because it looks monstrous. Again, it's a party-stopping chord. And so what we're going to do is open E string. This one we are going to use the open E. And then we're going to go 7th fret. Okay, now be careful, don't hurt yourself. 7th fret on the this is an adult chord for sure. 7th fret on the A string. Okay, and then 6th fret on the D string, the 4th string, and then 2nd fret on the E string or the G string, and then top 2 strings open. That one might take a second to get to. Okay, that's a pretty cool chord. So, in review, we had the C, the C4 chord that was not with a major 7th instead of a minor 2nd interval. But then if we wanted the minor 2nd interval, that tight interval, we could do voicing that way. The D4, the A4, and the grandpappy of them all, the E4. And you could play it other ways. You could play like different ways where you could find a way to get the G sharp and the A in the same chord. Or you could play that voicing that I showed you that's totally movable. Okay? All right, I hope this helps. I hope this gives you some fun chords to use on some stuff. I've got some more coming, and just stay close. Stay posted. God bless you guys. Bye.